Hello, Scorpio. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Scorpio is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment. Consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. If there is anything you would like me to pray over, or meditate upon, or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Scorpio, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. Ace of Swords, you're tapped in. I feel like you have a direct line to your intuition, to spirit, to your conscience, to the universal mind. You're plugged in to spirit right now, okay? With the Ace of Swords, this is someone who's highly intuitive, someone who is receiving a signal in the darkness. You got your antenna up and you're receiving. Right, the cosmic rays at the top here, those are incoming signals from the universe. The tip of the sword is in outer space, right? In other words, your consciousness has transcended the noise and the chaos of your mind, and you're able to perceive the truth of something. There's clarity here, because your consciousness has pierced beyond the chaotic mind, intellect, thought realm, okay? You're a highly intuitive person. I think you are fiercely intuitive. I think you can feel, you can hear, you can see things that other people can't. You know things, Let's put this card into a little bit of context. Let's see what you know, Scorpio. The universe, the entire, the world, yeah. We have an 8 of Pentacles. You have a 10 of Wands, an Ace of Cups, and you have a Knight of Swords. Over here you have the Libra energy, the adjustment card. You have a Hanged Man, a 10 of Cups, and a 5 of Wands. Interesting. I feel like there is some kind of ending coming, some kind of a conclusion. Okay, something that I think has been, I feel like something that you kind of have known was over for a long time, but there's a reluctance to kind of move forward with that conclusion or with that ending. I feel like there is some kind of a secret, or there's some kind of a message coming in that's going to confirm your intuition for you, because I feel like you've been resisting it. I feel like you've known something for a long time. But with that 5 of Wands, you've been saying, no, it can't be true. I'm going to wait it out. It could be that you knew the truth. You didn't want to believe the truth. Okay? But there's some secret that's being revealed, or there's some incoming message that's going to confirm the intuition that you've had about that sort of conclusion or ending it's been delayed. It's kind of like you've known something is over, but you've been holding on to it. You've been delaying the inevitable with that card. Okay? It could be that someone is confessing something. Kind of see a Hanged Man over here. Somebody is kind of giving themselves over to your mercy in a way. Admitting something that I think you've known all along. Okay? There's some message that's coming in that's confirming this, almost a suspicion that you've had. Okay. Anyway, let's select our mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown. We're going to set this down right over here with Mr. Ed, our little horse, right there on top. We're not going to look at that horse, of course, until the very end. It will tie everything together. It will give us the confirmation that we need at the end of the reading. If at any moment during this message you feel like you might know what that card might be, put your prediction in the comment section down beneath the video. Okay? Now, let's look around the room because we see major. The conclusion, the ending, also the delay. Okay? That you have perhaps known something to be true, but you've been giving it some extra time anyway. The universe is a card of time and space. Okay? And it's kind of like saying you've given this other thing, this situation, relationship, a job, whatever it is, you've given it enough time. Okay? That I think that you're ready to sort of act on your intuition here. I feel like you're getting a confirmation. I feel like somebody is revealing their secret to you and kind of giving themselves over to your mercy. I don't feel as if you are going to make a decision to punish them, but you have to make a decision that's going to be the best for you. I feel like you don't want to be right about it, but the fact that you are correct is kind of freeing you in a way. Okay. So we have our majors anyway. The Libra energy is you trying to make that decision. Trying to make a decision that is kind of coming from that higher place. I feel like when somebody kind of comes to you in the hanged man position, they're kind of on their knees, they're begging you or they're apologizing. They say, I'm sorry, please don't, quit or break up with me or whatever. You're trying not to be too moved by that emotional appeal. You're trying to stay as objective and as discerning as possible. That's saying, look, you have compassion. You have tremendous compassion, okay? And there's that part of you that wants to just forgive this person and say, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Because they're crying and it's really, it moves your heart, You're trying to be as almost stoic as possible and saying, I feel for you, I have compassion for you, I love you, but I have to make this choice. And maybe, really, it's because maybe they took so long to come and reveal the truth to you that it's, in a way, it's kind of like a day late and a dollar short, right? Too little, too late, and it's not going to sway the decision that you have to make, okay? We've got fire and fire. You've got water and water. You've got air and air. And you've got the earth energy underneath here, okay? The universe, of course, is that card of, expansion. It's the card of really there being no restrictions and no boundaries, okay? So your intuition is kind of telling you that you need to free yourself from something, that there's been something that has been restricting your nature, and it's kind of like you've been tied up in something, mixed up in some kind of situation that really you don't need to be mixed up in, okay? It's also, in a way, you're being very generous with time and space. Even though you've known the truth, okay, even though you've had that intuitive signal, you've been tapped in, you have your intuition, you have clarity on this situation. You've been very generous with your time and space anyway, still giving somebody your time, sharing your space with them, knowing what you know, but it's almost like you've been waiting for them to tell you. You've been waiting for some sort of confirmation or waiting for them to come clean. Because this is a card of delay. It's a card of being way too patient, waiting for something. And, that's kind of part of your Eight of Pentacles under the surface. You're somebody that doesn't rush into any kind of judgment. This is a card of patience and prudence. Okay, it's a card that's telling me that you tried to give this situation enough time to really take root and grow. I think you've given someone the benefit of the doubt. You've forgiven them perhaps a lot. You've been very patient in this situation, whether this is romance, whether this is something at work, at home, at school, it doesn't really matter. You have been paying attention. And I think that you've done everything that you could to cultivate this situation and to make it prosperous. You wanted it to work. Okay? At the same time, you've been noticing the little things. It's not just one big thing happened. It's like, okay, obviously now something's going on. I think it was just like a lot of little things. A lot of little words, things that were said, things that weren't said, a lot of behaviors and things that you picked up on. Sometimes that's what intuition is. You're able to pick up on those subtle impressions that all together add up into a bigger picture. Most of those details are things people would miss. People would, not always perceive this because people sometimes just see what they want to see, right? Well, you've got your Ace of Cups up there too. It is something that you really wanted this to be the right one. You wanted this to work. Okay? But there was something inside of you that was picking up on all those subtle details, and you can't ignore the picture of reality that it's giving you. Okay? The Ten of Wands in the background, sometimes this is a card of cooperation, teamwork, kind of sharing the burden with each other, that we're kind of in this together, it's two against the world here. And I think maybe that's how it was, this is kind of the background energy for you. It could be that the two of you, if this is a coworker, a job, a friend, family member, a lover, it doesn't matter. At one point, it felt like the two of you were in it together, power couple, kind of, we're doing this, we're collaborating, that you're kind of like, you're sewn together at the hip, kind of an unstoppable, committed couple. It could be a band member, it could be a coworker or something like this. The two of you were supporting each other, and together it was this unstoppable force. I wonder if, over time, you kind of felt that they were slipping away a little bit. They were starting to distance themselves from you. And it felt like slowly over time, they were just kind of like not as committed to you as you were to them. Okay? Well, that's another aspect of the universe card, because the universe is expanding. So what it feels like is the two of you used to be really tight together, kind of doing everything together, working on, it was a team, it was a unity here. But with the expanding universe slowly drifting apart. Okay? To the point where you realize that something is going on because they seem like they're slowly pulling away from you. That they're just not as tight with you as they used to be, or as you still kind of are with them. And I think that's kind of the subtlety. You start picking up on those little things that are just like, why would they say that? Why would they do that? Why wouldn't they do that? Okay? And I don't think you were just seeing things that weren't there. I think it was your intuition picking up on all those things that kind of all together were little pieces of this puzzle that gave you a larger impression of what was really going on. Okay? I think that the Ace of Cups up here is that part of you that really wants to believe that you're wrong. So your heart seems to be, trying to overrule what your conscious perception and what your intuition here really, what your mind, your mental clarity is telling you. Okay, your heart's saying, well, just give it some time. Maybe it'll work out. Maybe it'll correct itself. Maybe things will come back together the way they were. Maybe the teacup will become unbroken. I think your heart really wants this to work. Yeah. I think your mind knows the answer, but your mind said, okay, heart, here's what we'll do. We'll wait. Okay? We'll wait. We won't make a decision yet. We'll see what happens. We'll give it a few more days. We'll give it another 6 months or whatever. I think that the time's kind of up on that now, you know. Moving forward into the Knight of Swords, this is a couple of things. This is you making that decision. See, now, what we have is we have 2 Libra energies. I would maybe watch the Libra reading if I were you. Okay. Both of these are Libra power cards. This is you kind of making a decision, saying it's no more delay, no more thinking about it, no more wondering. I'm just going to act on that. I'm going to act on the certainty that I have, the clarity that I have. I'm going to act on my intuition. Okay. I feel like this is also in relation to our Hanged Man card. This is the other person coming to you, and maybe when they realize that you're making a move, that's when they come to you and they say, I have something to tell you. I made a mistake. I'm very sorry. I didn't mean it. They're trying to get out in front of it because they can sense that you're shifting now. Does that make sense for you? Let me know a little bit about your story in the comments, okay? Hit the like button if this is resonating with you. I want you to subscribe to the channel. And I want you to claim this reading, okay? Because it's important that you trust your intuition. This is not necessarily an ending for you. This is the opening of a door. This may be unsettling, but it's freeing you, okay? Your life is going to bloom because of this. Because you are finally making that decision to get away from something that is no longer working, instead of lingering here and drawing something out for days and weeks and months and years. I feel like you're leaping into your decision, you're trusting your intuition, and whatever you're losing here is becoming a gateway. Okay? It's becoming a gateway to more, a gateway to your future, a gateway to bliss. This 10 of Cups is going to bloom, right? Where before it wasn't here. Despite your efforts, this didn't bloom into what you were hoping it would be. Okay. So this is your decision. This is also this person, I think, trying to preemptively kind of block you from leaving, okay, by like getting out in front of it. Yeah. Now, Path of the Serpent, you have your higher wisdom and discernment, your choice. This is how you make a choice. You're not being emotionally manipulated, okay? You're understanding what is important to you, and your intuition, I think, has a lot of value. It's kind of like you got your head in one side, you got your heart in the other. And you're weighing those things. I really wanted this to work, but the truth of the matter, the clarity, the intuition is telling you it's not. That something's wrong here, that it isn't what you thought it was. And that by staying and lingering in this situation is just delaying you getting what you really want, what you really need, and what is meant for you. So this is that decision-making process for you, where it is, you're weighing all of the facts. You're weighing your heart against your head. And you're kind of, there's a lot of evidence that you just can't ignore. And you're making a kind of top-level, executive-level decision about your life. And you're not letting yourself be emotionally manipulated by that Hanged Man. Because this is kind of somebody that's like thrown themselves at your knees and is kind of begging you, please don't go. I guess what the adjustment card needs to ask is this too little too late? Okay. Are they doing this to try to pull on your heart, pull on your heartstrings? Are they doing this to try to emotionally manipulate you? And it could be that they are actually very, very sorrowful, very apologetic for what's transpiring. But if they didn't know that you know, would they still be this apologetic? Are they only sad now that they got called out or they got caught or they realize that they're getting caught? You know, and I don't know what happened. I don't know if this is at work, at home, at school. It could be a coworker, it could be a friend, it could be, you know, a romantic partner. It could be a business collaborator or business associate. I feel like the only reason they're coming to you with this very apologetic demeanor is because they realize that you know already. Okay. The Ten of Cups is what you're wishing for. This is the fear, the worry, the concern. You don't want to throw away the dream. You don't want to give up on bliss and contentment. I think your intuition is telling you that this was not here. But this is still out there for you. And the sooner you can get away from this, trust your intuition. This is what you're destined for. This is fulfillment, this is satisfaction, this is love, this is contentment. This is a depth of meaning and purpose. Over here, maybe it feels kind of like this person was telling you what you wanted to hear, but maybe it feels like there was either a codependence or there was even a kind of, you know, you were being used or taken for granted. Okay. Maybe somebody kept promising you something that they knew you wanted, but they never had the intention of delivering. This could be a business thing, could be romance, whatever, okay? You deserve the fulfillment that they promised you but didn't deliver. So you got to make the decision to go to follow your own heart, follow your own direction, follow your light. And get this, create this for yourself. Okay? Losing this is opening up a gateway to this for you. Okay? And the Five of Wands is you now kind of reaching out into the universe and you're going after what you want. This is the five-fingered hand that's reaching out into the universe, and you're gonna get it. You're not going to wait and wait and wait for this person to finally decide to show up. You're going to go out and find it. You're going to go out and create it. Create that bliss. Create that dream come true. Because this other thing, they're not going to deliver. Whether it's the job, whether it's the friend, or whatever. They're not going to deliver. Okay? This is also a card of fighting. And to me, it feels like we're wrestling with ourselves about this decision. Wrestling your heart and your mind, wrestling together. You know the right thing to do, but your heart is saying, no, 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 not yet. You're internally divided. And perhaps this Libra energy is you kind of becoming internally united. Let's look at the mystery card. Maybe we'll find a card of union. This could be the Temperance card, it could be the Lover's card, it could be a Two of Swords. If you have a prediction for that card, please put it in the comments down beneath the video. Let's see what we have. Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands, all the queens really of the tarot, are dealing with the past, processing and ending. Yeah. So the Queen of Wands processes an ending very quickly, cuts it right off, right? Where the Queen of Cups is kind of slow to separate from something. It takes a long time to feel the feelings and to go through that separation or go through that ending, to process the past, you know. I feel like your Queen of Wands here is saying you've lingered enough. That you've delayed things long enough. This seems like it is an abrupt ending. Cutting it off right away, not looking back. Okay. The Queen of Wands goes from past to future like that. I'm done with that old thing. It's not a slow, drawn-out process. I don't know. How do I feel? There's too many feelings going on. It's saying, nope, that's it. The past is done, the future's here, let's go. Because I think you've lingered enough. I think things have been delayed. You've been patient enough. Now's the time for very decisive action. A clean break. Yeah, clean break. And now we're going to do an extended reading. If you want to stick around, we'll do an I Ching hexagram. We'll do some oracle cards. There's a link in the corner here. There's a link in the video description here. New readings for Scorpio Mondays and Thursdays. Be sure to watch both readings. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Leave a comment and let me know where in the world you are watching from. I want you to know that you are the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you, and we are all in this together.